On November 27th, 1997, citizens from a small Midwestern town called Carpenter's Bay were shocked to discover that one of their own brutally massacred his family, as well as ending his own life on Thanksgiving Day. Dubbed the Thanksgiving Day Massacre, this horrendous crime would forever tarnish the good name of this peaceful town. However, underneath this story lies a dark secret. A secret involving a government cover-up to hide the real story of what happened that fateful day. As the old saying goes, truth is stranger than fiction. Asset 13, The Last Thanksgiving, written by Julius Freeman, art by Greg Warrenchak, available on Global Comics. Evil has a new holiday.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Let's Talk About It. I'm your host, Julius Freeman. I know I skipped over the intro for Let's Talk About It, and that's because as you can see, my co-host, my AI co-host Kyle is not here with me today because he is a hockey fan and he's rooting for the Ducks. So he went to the Anaheim's Duck game tonight. It's a playoff game apparently, and so he's there instead of here talking to us about comic books. And so I hope you guys had a good week. It's good to be back. And it hasn't been a crazy week, I don't think. I mean, if you're Christopher Nolan, you probably had a crazy week. if you're the people involved in the Odyssey movie, you probably had a crazy week on X. Rashad 58. Hey, hello. How's it going? Ben, what a loser, choosing sports over comics. Hey, to each their own is what I say. I'm not a hockey fan personally. I prefer basketball over hockey and football. But hockey, I never could get into watching hockey. I played street hockey when I was younger, but I really couldn't get into it. But I get it. I get it. And welcome, Russia. I don't know if you're new to the show or not. Oh, well, hello and goodbye. I hope you have a good weekend. And catch the replay, and don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment and hit the thumbs up. Let the channel grow. But it's just another week. Good week for me. I gotta say, I got no complaints. But like I said, bad week for for hype wise, it would be for Christopher Nolan, The Odyssey. And I guess we could get right into. Oh, you're not leaving? Okay, I just see you. You're just like I just see you coming in, and then you're saying bye, hello, goodbye. But cool. Stick around then. Cool. I would like to have you here. I like to have conversations with people in chat. I hope you guys are doing well out there. Welcome back. Another Friday, May 8th, 2026. Another good week for comics. I think I heard that Benjamin Percy got an exclusive deal in Marvel, which is good for him. He's pretty good. Hit or miss for me, but good for him. Congratulations to Mr. Percy for getting that gig. It's a guaranteed money, man. You can't hate that. But let's get right into it. I want to talk about the Odyssey. I want to talk about Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Now, I don't know about you guys. Who are you talking to? I'm talking to you, dude. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to everybody. Not just to you, but everybody. Everybody who comes on, the replay, all that stuff. So I want to talk about The Odyssey. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Now, let me just say this firstly. I'm a huge fan of Christopher Nolan's movies. I've always been a fan of his movies. Ever since Memento, I first watched Memento when it came out. I believe it was 2001 or 2002. I can't remember. Hey J Dubs, how you doing, man? Welcome to the show. I think Nolan is a great director, but he seems to have made some interesting choices for this movie. Yeah, he definitely has. I'll admit that. You know, and before I move on with that, let me just give some context here. I'm a huge fan of Nolan's movies. Ever since Memento, I have oddly enough, I had not seen Insomnia yet. That's one of those movies where I just for some reason fell under the radar for me, and I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. That's the only Nolan movie I haven't seen. Saying that, I love his other films outside after Insomnia. So it was Batman Begins, and then it was um I believe it was The Prestige, and then Dark Knight, and then Inception, and then The Dark Knight Rises, or whatever it was, and then Dunkirk, and so on and so forth. Um, and what I love about Nolan personally was that he was a director that obviously he has something to say in his films, right? He's like one of those cerebral directors. Like, I got a message. I want my theme is like the important thing of my movies. But what I liked about him was that he brought in action. He's an action director that's an intellectual action director, which was kind of cool and fresh. If I'm being honest, you know. And I love Michael Bay movies. Just for the record, I love action movies. American action films is my favorite genre of film. So, yeah, I'm all about Michael Mann. I'm all about Michael Bay. I love Michael Bay's movies. I don't care what people say about his movies. I love those movies. His movies, Bad Boys, Transformers, and the Rock was another one of my favorites. And what's his name? The director of the Predator and Die Hard movies, Frank Tiernan, I want to say his name is, but correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure it's Frank Tiernan or John Tiernan. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. If I'm wrong, I can never remember his name, but he's another one of my favorites. And so when Christopher Nolan came into the picture, and he talked about in interviews he gave as his star was rising, he always talked about how much he loved American action movies. And I thought that was always cool. I was like, yeah, that's pretty rad that this British director, because you know most British directors are very like I said, very intellectual. They like making movies that they get you to think about things. And it was refreshing to see a British film director wanting to make action movies, but in his own way. And that's where style comes into play. That's when an artist's interpretation comes into play when it comes to creative choices. So, for instance, I am not a fan of Zack Snyder. I'm not a fan of his, but I understand why people like his movies. And he's a very good visual director, but storytelling wise, he still needs a lot of work, apparently. And I know a lot of Snyder bros will probably come at me with that, but it is what it is. You can still like it. I'm not saying you shouldn't like it. Just saying that his style is not, I didn't connect with it, if that makes sense. But I understand why people like his movies. And I can respect that because that's his art. That's his interpretation of what he thinks the story should be. So when he did Superman or Man of Steel, when he did Justice League, when he did Watchmen, even though I was not a fan of those movies, I still respected the fact that he was able to do it the way he wanted. And that's what I respect. From one storytelling artist to another, I respect that. So when he lost Justice League, because unfortunately he lost his daughter during the filming of that film, so I'm sure there's a lot going on in his life. And then when Warner Brothers gave him the extra cash to finish Justice League, again, I was not a big fan of the movie, but I was a fan of the fact that they let him finish his movie, a movie he wanted to make. Because the only movie that I like personally of Zack Snyder is Man of Steel. Man of Steel is my favorite. It to this day. For me, that's number one on my list as like the movie where he was able to tell a good story and not go too ham with his slow motion. you know, his slow motion approach to filmmaking, like the slow motion scenes and stuff. So that was kind of nice. It was refreshing. It was kind of a sign of maturity, in my opinion. So saying all that, I understand the Nolan hate. I really do, because when he did Batman, a lot of Batman fans, people who read the comics, who are fans of the comic books, didn't like that he grounded the story too much. You know, they wanted a bit more, I guess, oomph to it. Like, you know, kind of, I guess, like Burton did when he took over Batman. He made it larger than life. And Nolan kept it grounded, you know, and so I understand why people would hate that. Yeah, he explored some high concept ideas playing with time and space, which were obvious in Tenet and Interstellar, right? But less obvious, but still there in Dunkirk and Inception. Yeah. Yeah. And I like that. You know, that's something that I look forward to when I watch Nolan movie. It's kind of like the same thing, right? When the movie going audience, right, when they see a trailer of a Spielberg or a Scorsese or a Denis Villeneuve, they expect a certain kind of movie, if that makes sense. When I see a trailer for the Faraday Brothers, I expect a you know, fart joke movie. I'm not expecting anything else but that. That's just the way we've been conditioned in our media. When we think of a name, of a household name, we expect a certain kind of movie. So when you see a trailer for a Scorsese movie, I expect a very intense, like deeply acted movie. If I don't get that, then what's the point? That makes sense. So Nolan is this no different for Nolan. Nolan's approach to filmmaking is more about, like you mentioned, Ben, like high concept, cerebral ideas, and he is very monochristic, very monotone lighting, and he just likes big wide shots. And those are cool. I love those shots. You know, Tenet was very bold, but it was no different than Memento in a lot of ways. It's just that he took it the next step. He had the budget to take it to the next level, like he did with Memento. Memento was the short-term memory idea, which was still holds up to this very day. So the hate that he was getting surprised me, because it brought up a few questions for me. And I understand, like I said, I understand the hate from a lot of, I guess, people my age, right? Who were expecting a little bit more from the Odyssey, because I'm sure a lot of fans of the Odyssey book were expecting had high expectations. They wanted something colorful, they wanted something big and grand, and they feel like they're not getting that. And I get that. I do. But at the same time, I also understand that it's his interpretation of a classic story. Now, it may not be to everyone's liking, and the box office will let us know that, because the box office is of course is how many people will go and watch it, and the rewatchability factor too. Will people go back to rewatch it? That's always a key thing with Nolan movies, at least for me. I can't speak for anyone else but me. I always rewatch the movies when I watch a Christopher Nolan movie, because there's so much to unpack. One viewing won't do it justice. It won't. It's for me, it's too much. Rewatching it 2 or 3 times, it gets better and better with every rewatch. And again, in my opinion, not everyone will agree, and that's okay. And I understand the whole costume design thing. Yeah, I personally think he could have done a little bit more with the costume design, but again, it didn't affect my hype to watch the movie. I don't care. I don't care, because when I heard he was doing the Odyssey, I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder how he's going to do all those monsters, since he's famously known to not use any CGI, which is interesting to me. I was like, I want to see how he does this. How is he going to pull this off with practical effects? Was my first question when they announced that he was going to do the Odyssey, since he's, like I said, he's famous for not using CGI almost never. It's always practical. And so I'm looking forward to that as a fan, and also as a I guess a cinephile, you know, because I studied film in college. While I was trying to get my comic book thing going, I studied film in college because I wanted to be a filmmaker as well. And at the time, I thought filmmaking and sequential storytelling went hand in hand. Now I know better. Now that's not the case. Storyboarding is not the same thing as sequential storytelling. I don't care who says otherwise. If someone tells you, oh, there's the same thing, they go hand in hand. No, it's totally different. Sequential storytelling is way different than storyboarding. And any artist who tells you otherwise, and again, no disrespect to the artists out there, but they don't know what they're talking about because it's two different things. So at the time when I was studying film, I learned a lot of the trade. You know what it takes to make a film: screenwriting, directing, producing, the production of something of such magnitude like an Odyssey, and what goes into it. And so, I have a lot more of an appreciation of cinema personally, and I think that's just the way it ended up happening. Not everyone, I guess, has digs deep into studying something that they enjoy. That's just my nature. My nature is, how did they make that, and I want to know how they made that. That's just my nature. I just always want to know, like, how did they make that, and unpack it and find out exactly how they made something happen. Like 2001: Space Odyssey. Whew, man. I mean, when you learn how they made that movie and the way Stanley Kubrick shot that film, to this day, even though it was done in 1968, the special effects in that movie still hold up a lot better than even the modern day CGI. And that speaks volumes to the artistry of what a true artist can accomplish if they are allowed to flourish in their respective medium. And that's where Nolan is at right now. And so I understand the whole idea of, like, I want my movie to be this way. I was the same way. I was guilty of the same thing. You have high expectations in your mind, and then when the person who you hope will accomplish or get close to it, kind of like what Peter Jackson did with Lord of the Rings, because in my opinion, I think Lord of the Rings is probably the closest thing we ever got to a true adaptation of from novels to movies. I know that might be up for debate. People will disagree with me, but in my personal opinion, I believe he got the closest to getting that done. And because those movies still hold up to this day, and it was glorious films. And so, going back to Nolan, I understand the high expectations of it. A lot of people probably expect a lot more than what they got when it comes to Cyclops, when it comes to the giants, the ogre giants that they fight in there, and the rumors that Elliot Page is going to be Achilles, which is it would be an interesting choice, I'll say, without going too deep into that. But hey, again, it's his movie. He can do whatever he wants with it, and if we don't like it, then there's nothing he could really do about that. He finished it. He's ready to show it, and we're going to see how the final product ends up happening. I hope it's very successful, honestly, because I didn't understand the amount of hate that he got for it, because there are hundreds and hundreds of action films and blockbuster films, and there's the old Odyssey TV movies and all movies of old too that have come out, and I just can't understand how someone can just simply accept the fact that it's just one filmmaker who wants to take it a different direction. If you don't like where he's taking the direction, then like Brian Azzarello once said in a Comic-Con I attended, buy the book and read it. Read the source material and enjoy that, since that is the true source material that's going to give you exactly what you're looking for high entertainment. So I'm looking forward to it personally, and the hate that came with it. Again, I understand that people are expecting a certain a kind of thing when it comes to the costumes, but at the end of the day, you still haven't seen the movie yet. You have to watch the movie to really give your 2 cents as to whether or not it's going to be good. But from my observation of all the hate that I saw on X, I noticed that a lot of the people who were crapping on the trailer are mainly young people. people in their 20s, people in their early 20s, mid 20s, and of course the people who are my age. I get it. They had certain expectations, but the younger generation, I guess they started calling it MCU light, which I found interesting because like, well, I mean, I don't know why you would call this MCU light when Nolan was the one who mainstreamed and made that style popular, the whole grounded gray tone style. He popularized that. He made it popular enough where studios copied it after Dark Knight. After the success of Dark Knight and the Academy recognizing that movie as a movie worthy of nomination, that was huge, guys. That was a huge deal back then, because at that point, the Academy didn't even want to touch comic book movies with a 10-foot pole. In their eyes, it was beneath them. But the fact that Nolan was able to elevate it to a level where, yeah, I get it, he alienated a lot of the hardcore comic book fans, but Nolan wasn't tasked to make a movie for the comic book fans. He was tasked to make a movie for the masses. See, the masses, for the most part, don't read comic books. They don't care about comic books. They only know the character based on TV and older movies. And that's it. I mean, yeah, you have your converts here and there that eventually will discover, um, you know, um, uh, the comic books because they like the lore so much that they want to go for it and go to the shop and start reading Batman books. But for the most part, most people don't do that. They just watch the movie and go, "That was fun," and then they buy the DVD and they rewatch it, and that's the end of it. It's like I have a friend who is a major jock, sports guy, never cared about any of the nerd stuff like I did, and to my surprise, he once told me he likes Star Wars, and I was like, "You like Star Wars? Like that's wow, that's very surprising." And he's like, "Yeah, I like Star Wars. I mean, I'm not a nerd like you are. I don't care about the other stuff. I just care about the movie." And that was a light bulb moment for me because that's when it hit me. It was like, okay, he's the masses. He's part of the masses. He's the one who just buys a ticket, watches the movie, and oh, that was nice, and then moves on with his life. Whereas me and the quote unquote nerd culture, we dig into the lore, right? We buy the books, we buy the novels, we buy the comic books, we go to the cons, we meet the people who play the characters, take pictures with them, and all that stuff. And so, going back to Nolan, that's Nolan's job. Nolan's job is to sell to the masses. So the hardcore people who are fans of the Odyssey books, I get it. You're pissed because he totally, probably more likely, crapped on the source material. And again, I get it. I was not a fan of The Dark Knight Rises. I mean, I liked the movie. I'm talking about I was not a fan of Bane. I didn't like the fact that he changed Bane from a Latin American drug lord to a Eastern European, I guess, for lack of a better term, war criminal, part of the League of Shadows. I was not a fan of that. I would have preferred the Latin American, mass buff dude, but he didn't give us that, and that's my only gripe I had with Dark Knight Rises, the fact that he made Bane Eastern European as opposed to Latin American. So that, again, I totally get it. I totally get the hate, but for me, it's not enough to stop watching his movies. For me, it's all about does the movie entertain? And I have a feeling it will, because based on the IMAX preview, the 8-minute preview that was released, I mean, just by that scene alone was enough for me to be like, oh, this is going to be great. This is going to be epic. And so I'm all in. I'm all in. And so going back to the point of the young people crapping on this movie, or the trailer, I should say. I had a friend who we were talking about this very thing, about the hate that Nolan was getting, and he mentioned something about media illiteracy, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I keep forgetting that the generation after me, the new generation is coming up. They're people who are in their 20s and what have you, grew up on social media. they grew up watching YouTube channels and YouTubers and live streamers. And so they didn't grow up watching movies like my generation did, the Gen X generation or the millennials generation, whatever generation I fall into. They didn't grow up watching movies unless they had parents who introduced them to movies. But for the most part, they were all about video games, online gaming, live streaming, and watching people play games on live streaming and watching personalities on social media. And like for instance, I Show Speed is one that I know of because he's reached a level where now I know who he is because he's everywhere in my timeline on social media because of his popularity. And then there's Mr. Beast. The reason why I know about Mr. Beast is because of my little daughter, my 7-year-old daughter, who watches him sometimes. There's a whole bunch of, my daughter's being raised on YouTubers and live streamers. She can't sit down and watch a movie anymore. It's hard for her to sit down and watch a movie because she gets bored. She always tells me this movie looks old when I show her a movie from just 10 years ago. It never fails, guys. It's so interesting to observe. And so going back to the point of the young generation not understanding media, or my friend saying it's media literacy, I think that plays a major factor in that too. They don't understand the concept of style. An artist having a certain style. And like I mentioned earlier, when you mention a Scorsese movie, you think gangster, you think intense, you think great acting, right? You mention a Spielberg, you think family movie, aliens, interesting movies, that kind of stuff. And so nowadays, when you see something like The Odyssey and they're saying things like MCU light, they're accustomed to watching the MCU movies and comparing it to that and not knowing and not having any idea who Christopher Nolan is or his body of work. And again, that's fair. That's fair game. Not everyone's going to know who you are unless someone educates you on it. And so, I mean, I'll admit at first I was like, what the hell's up with all this hate? But then when I started thinking about this deeply, I realized, oh yeah, you know what? That makes sense. I don't want to end up like the old man yelling at the cloud, guys. I don't. I'm all about live and let live. I'm all about having people like what they like. And it's up to us, our generation, to educate the young generation to understand how to consume media, like old media, movies, TV shows, the works. But I think a lot of the new generation watches more TV and do movies, which is why streaming is so big. It's easier to sit down and watch episodes of a show as opposed to a movie in the theaters. And so I get it. And Nolan's never going to do streaming. He's a cinemaphile. He's a cinephile through and through. He will make movies until he can't anymore in the theater. So we're never going to see a Nolan streaming service exclusive. We're always going to see a theater release. RMJ Jr. 887 says, Lord of the Rings, the first one. Oof, such beauty. I watched it 20 times. The rest, man, just didn't hit for me. Hello, Mr. Wayne, Classic Cinema. Okay, got a dinner. Gotta go. Thanks for stopping by, Arturo. But yeah, hello, Mr. Wayne. That was such a badass line. Just Bane walking up. Hello. No need for I forgot the line. I totally butchered that. Mr. Wayne, and I love that scene. The whole scene, no music, just the fight scene, the hits and the blows, all that stuff. It was great. Sorry, I take a shot on my whiskey. So yeah, I get the hate. I really do, because Nolan does come off as very pompous as a person. When you watch his interviews, he does come off very high and mighty, very uppity, very nose up, and I get it. And that's very standoffish. That's very like, but I'm a fan of his work, not a fan of Nolan, the person, because I don't know him as a person. I just know of his work. I'm a fan of his work because he did something that was different. Now, I'm not saying he's the best director of all time. No. It's just he happened to fill a void that was missing in the action genre, because at that point the action genre was kind of stale. It was kind of the same. The movies all looked the same. They all felt the same, with few exceptions like Michael Bay movies and what have you. But it just did something wasn't working until John Wick came out. John Wick, thank goodness John Wick came out because that changed the game forever. But I like the fact that Nolan brought something. He added a layer of intellectualism in action movies, and I personally like that. I personally not prefer it, but I personally like it. And I know it's not to everyone's liking. Inception, I understand that Inception was was something that it kind of split the fans of action movies because of how, like, I guess, quote unquote complicated it was. And I get that, but that's why his movies have such a high quality of rewatchability. You have to watch it again and again and again to catch the things you missed the first time. And that's how you want not just movies but stories to come off as. You want, like for me as a comic book writer and creator, I would love nothing more than to have readers reread my books over and over again. That should be the goal for every storyteller out there who's going to pursue movies, TV, writing, like novels, short stories, or even comics. You should always write stories where people are going to want to pick it up again and read it again. And Nolan hit that mark. For at least for me, I can't speak for everyone else, but for me, yeah, he hit all those marks every time. I rewatch Dunkirk twice a year. I rewatch, Ben here mentioning Prestige. I watch it again twice a year too. I watch all his movies at least once a year. I rewatch them because they're so good. The Prestige is his most haunting movie. That one stuck with me long after watching. Yeah, same here, dude. Same here, man. With the ending of that movie, when it ended, I was like, dude, what the whoa. If you guys have not seen Prestige, watch it tonight. Watch it tonight. If anything else, if you're not a fan of Nolan, at least watch The Prestige because it's like mind-blowingly good. Very, like, extremely well done all across the board. I mean, he did no wrong in that movie. That's a classic for sure. And so, the hate that he got was, in my opinion, unjustified by most people. Some people had very good opinions about why the movie looked like crap, and I totally get it. I do. But for the most part, I think a lot of people were not giving them a chance until, watch the movie. Watch the movie and then make your decision. Then you could let us know whether or not it was crap. And it could very well be that this might be the movie that just ends his reign. Because, at some point, someone, storytellers like Nolan, they all hit a plateau, in my opinion. It happened to Spielberg. It's now barely happening to Scorsese, where his last movie was okay. I mean, I wasn't really big on it, if I'm being honest. But everyone has like a stale, when they just plateau and they just kind of stay there. They don't keep going up. And so this could be the movie finally for Nolan that it just doesn't hit. It just doesn't connect. It could be it, but that remains to be seen. When the movie is released, we'll see. We'll see how it does. I have a feeling it might be all right. In my opinion, I think it's going to be a great movie, but again, I could be wrong. And then when that time comes, I'll take the L. So, but overall, let's see what Skullgrin 140 says. In regards to the Odyssey, I don't buy into any of the hatred for it. I'm actually excited for. Yeah, same here, dude. Same here, man. Like, I'm excited for it. And again, if people want to hate on it. It's all good. I'm not here to try to convince the people who hate on it to watch it. No, if you don't want to watch it, if you think it's crap, then cool, don't watch it. It's all good. Art is subjective after all, right? At the end of the day, it's subjective. If it doesn't connect with you, then why even bother? I mean, that's what I do. When something doesn't connect with me, I just put it down. Like, for instance, a comic book or a movie. If a movie doesn't connect with me, then I just let it go. And a prime example, personally, is the movie Napoleon Dynamite. Now, everyone that I know loves that movie. I'm not a fan of that movie. I didn't find it funny. I didn't connect with it. However, saying that, I still recognized that it was well written, it was well acted, and well directed. So, in other words, I still recognized the hard work that went into making that movie. I still recognized that the humor, even though it was not to my liking, was still hitting its notes. It just didn't connect with me. So to this very day, I don't like that movie, but everyone around me that I know loves that movie. And I get it. I totally get it. I'm not hating on anyone who likes it. That's just the way it goes. Sometimes you connect and sometimes there's a disconnect. And that's just the way it goes with movies and TV shows. It just happens. I know that everyone's very divided on the casting and visual representation, but I trust exactly. I trust Christopher Nolan too. He's never let me down once in any of his movies. Never did I ever find myself going, man, this is boring, or this is dumb, or this is not working for me. Never. So I'm looking forward to it. For sure, I am. Ben Soto says, my only problem with Odyssey so far is the American accents. Yeah. I agree with you there, Ben. Yeah, I kind of wish they would have done a little bit more with the accents. Yeah, for sure. Maybe I'm used to those period pieces using the British English accents to class them up. Yeah, you know what, dude? I have to agree with you on that one. That's another problem I had with it, was the accent, with the lack of I guess I'm used to British accents, and I guess maybe again it's a creative choice. We'll see if it pays off. Hopefully it pays off. I don't get Napoleon Dynamite as a movie, but trashing it feels ultimately very pointless. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say that's probably pointless. But even like I said, I get it. I have a brother. My brother loves that movie. He quotes it all the time, and hey, good for him. That's great. I kind of see it as like their version of Dumb and Dumber, or their version of Ace Ventura. Because I remember when Ace Ventura came out, I was like, me and my friends would quote it, and my uncles who were who were a little obviously older and they were used to the older comedies, they didn't get it. They're like, how could you guys like that stupid movie? It's so stupid. But we loved it. And so when Napoleon Dynamite came out and they liked it, again, I almost became like my uncles. Like, how could you like that stupid movie? But then I remember, no. This movie was not made for me. This movie was made for them. So I'm gonna let them enjoy it. And I'm not gonna rain on the parade. So that was the one thing that it just like clicked for me. I was like, okay, I get it. It's not for me, it's for them. Justin Soto. What's up, Justin? I agree. I understand not liking these movies, but I don't get hating them. And I'm a man who supports most kinds of hatred. That's a good point, Justin. For sure, man. Yeah, yeah, me too, man. I don't understand it either. I was like, okay, hate on the costumes, cool. Hate on the lighting, that's cool, but don't hate on the movie yet. The movie hasn't come out yet. Maybe for all you know, you might end up liking it, even though you don't like the other aspects that you saw in the trailer. Kind of like the way I didn't like Bane being Eastern European, right? But that didn't ruin the movie for me. The movie was still cool. I still love it to this day. In a different scenario, this entire movie could work a whole lot better if they kept the entire cast, but did the exact same thing they did with Prince of Egypt, which make it animated. Animated. That would have been an interesting choice. Crenshaw, what's up, Crenshaw? I'll probably be catching that in the theater. My wife really wants to see it. Me, I can take it or leave it. That's fair. I'm in Idaho, and Napoleon Dynamite hits different for me. Dude, I totally get that for sure, man. Absolutely. Justin Soto, God, I wish McConaughey was an Odyssey. We need a boot scooting Achilles. Can you imagine, dude, if they casted McConaughey as Achilles? Oh, dude, that would have been something for sure. That would have been cool. That would have been cool if they had cast him as Achilles. Oh man, I'm just here in hell, man. What you up to, Homer? But I hope that I want to end the conversation with this. I hope that the younger generation will grow up and when they get older, and they start to revisit a lot of the old movies, because that's what happens, right? I remember years ago in my older job, I had this 19-year-old coworker who, when he and I got to know each other a little more, he he told me that he was interested in watching some movies, and I was like, great. Well, of course, me being a cinephile, I gave him a whole. I came up with the list, right? I was really excited to expose him to a lot of great films that he was looking forward to watching. And he told me, I want to watch something that's scary. I want to watch a classic horror movie. And so I recommended The Shining. Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. 19 years old, right? So I'm thinking, oh, he's gonna watch it and it's gonna blow his mind, right? he watched the movie. The next shift, when I saw him, so did you watch the movie? He said, yeah, I watched the movie. What'd you think? And he said, I hated it. It was boring. And I was like, what? Of course, I'm a huge Stanley Kubrick fan too. So I was like, my first reaction was like, how dare you speak ill against Stanley Kubrick, right? And he just started going off about, like, it was just so boring. It was so slow. It wasn't even that scary. Like, I didn't even get scared once. And then at the end, he was like, what the hell was this movie? And again, that's when I learned that perhaps he wasn't ready for that movie. Maybe he was too young to watch that movie. So I'm hoping that these young people who are coming up will one day discover some of these old films and really see just how genius some of these old classic movies really are, and kind of go look back and be like, yeah, I was kind of harsh back then. I mean, it happens to all of us. It happened to me. I mean, that's how I was when I was younger. I used to just just hate on everything, crap on everything. This is crap. Like, if you like this, you're stupid. That kind of talk. But then as I got older, I realized that, again, art is subjective, and pretty much you either connect with it or you don't. And that reminds me of a Scorsese video I saw that I want to share with you guys here, because I think it sums up. And I hope the video plays, because I know the audio sometimes gets wonky with me, and it sometimes it works for me and sometimes it doesn't. Hold on, it's loading up. Oh, my computer is like, there we go. Okay, just bear with me here for a second, guys. I'm gonna share my screen. Share my screen. I think he sums it up beautifully here. And let me know if you can hear it. I'm gonna play it. Let me know if you can hear it. Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Let me know if you can hear it. Justin says, I was too young to appreciate Blade Runner the first time. Yes, dude, me too. Me too. Oh, you can't hear it? Damn it. Okay. I guess I'm gonna have to find a different way to play it, but we'll hold on, give me a second here. I was too young to appreciate Blade Runner. Same here, man. Same here. The first time I saw it, I liked the feel, but it didn't grasp the concept it was trying to deliver. I understood it better when I got older. 100%. 100%. When I first watched Blade Runner, I thought it was a piece of crap movie. But then I learned that the version I saw was the theatrical version. So when I found out there was a final cut version, I rented that. I'm going to age myself at Blockbuster, and I watched it again because I was like, well, if this is what the director intended, I'm going to watch this version instead. Because again, like I mentioned in the beginning of the stream, I respect, when directors and artists get to do what they want and express themselves how they want, and so blew my mind, dude. It blew my mind when I first watched that movie, and it was amazing. I recommend it to everyone who has not seen it yet. And I remember I showed it to my dad a couple of years ago. He came over. He visited me one year. He came from Texas, and we were hanging out. And then he knows about my my love for film and everything. He's the reason why I love films, because he used to take me to the movie theater every weekend. That was our thing. And so when he was hanging out, he's like, "Hey, show me a good movie that I haven't seen yet." And I said, "Oh, okay." And Blade Runner was the first movie that came to mind, because I was like, "Oh, he would love this movie." And so I told him about Blade Runner, and he's like, "Oh, sci-fi." He's Mexican, by the way, so he didn't say it in English. He said it in Spanish. Sci-fi. I hate sci-fi. They're so stupid. They're so boring. I hate sci-fi. Is there anything else you want to show me? And I was like, "No, actually, Dad, I want to show you this. I think you like it." And he's like, he's like, I don't know. I don't want to. I don't want to waste my time with that crap. And so I was like, "Dad, just give it, give it the 15-minute rule. It's my own personal rule that I have. Give it 15 minutes, and if you don't like it within 15 minutes, then I'll turn it off." And so I played it for him, and 15 minutes in, he didn't say anything to me, and I was like, "Okay, this is a good sign." And the whole time the movie played, he stayed quiet until the very end. At the end, when after the Roy Batty scene, the speech about the time to die, and then Harrison Ford leaving with his girlfriend, and at the end of it, he was like, "Wow, that was one hell of a movie." Like, he was really impressed with it, and that is the testament of what happens when you let a director do what they intended to do. My dad was able to connect with that movie, even though he hated the genre, the sci-fi genre, because I asked him, I was curious, like, what was it that connected you to the movie that made you really like it? And he said, "I like the fact that this android, this robot, just wanted to live longer, and that's what we all want as human beings." Very deep. I never knew my dad had it in him. To be honest with you, when he said that, he said, "And we all wanted that. We all want that." Sorry, I don't know why it's not playing for me. It was playing for me earlier, but now it's not doing it for me. So hold on, give me a second. Let me just remove this. And so I was like, "Wow, Dad, that's really deep." So, well, yeah, I mean, that's just human nature. We all want to live longer. We all want to live forever, and that movie pretty much summed it up beautifully. And so he said, "Wow, this is my new favorite movie." All right, and let's see if this works. So I'm gonna share, and let me know if this works for you guys. Kenneth T. Russell says, "Have you seen this Michael Jackson movie biopic?" No, I haven't. I want to watch it. I just haven't had a chance to watch it. So I don't know when I'll be able. I think this might be one of those movies where I have to. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to wait for it until it streams to watch it, because I don't think I have the time yet to watch that movie. All right, give me a second, guys. I'm sorry. I just I don't know why this is not working out for me. Okay, here we go. Let me see. It's a shame she won't live, but then again, who does? Yeah, dude. He mentioned that line. He mentioned the Roy Batty scene, not the scene with him and Harrison Ford, the whole time to die scene. He liked that scene, but his favorite scene was when he spoke to the creator of the company that made him. He said that was his favorite scene, because it was like the way the way the back and forth went about when Roy Batty's like, "Well, what if we try this? Well, we tried that already, and it didn't work out. Well, whatever." And then they went back and forth. He said that was his favorite, because it was almost like it was symbolic of us, of humans, talking to God, asking, like, why can't we live longer? Why do we have to be here in finite time and all that stuff? So yeah, like I said, I didn't know my dad was deep, until he saw that movie. So I was happy about that. I was happy that he enjoyed Blade Runner, and I made him into a believer of sci-fi. So I'm proud of that. All right, here we go. Let's see if this works.
I mean, there are no manuals, no shortcuts, no secrets. You write your own manual, you develop your own shortcuts, you find your own secrets.
Let me know if you can hear that. Yeah, this clip here, yes, okay, perfect. Thank you, Ben. This clip here sums up how I believe that a storyteller should be in that. Bargaining with God, yes, all the way to the end when he accepts his fate. Yeah, it just beautiful, man. Like, it's one of the best movies, honestly. It's like, for me, it's top 10 movies of all time. That's another movie I rewatch from time to time because of just how deep it is. It's really Scott's best, and Philip K. Dick's novel. I have yet to read that one. I want to read that novel, but I would say that was a great adaptation to that novel, and it still holds up on its own. And really, Scott did a great job telling that story. So going back to Scorsese, really captures what the creative spirit is supposed to be. And I hope that this video is discovered by a lot of these young people who crap on the Odyssey, who crap not just on the Odyssey, but just any kind of commercial art that gets released, any movies or TV shows where they just immediately just crap on it without even watching it. There's a fundamental understanding of what storytellers are supposed to, the rules are supposed to abide by telling the story. And I think Scorsese captures it beautifully here with this.
You have to find your own way. I mean, there are no manuals, no shortcuts, no secrets. You write your own manual, you develop your own shortcuts, you find your own secrets. You go where you're drawn to go, and you learn by doing the work. I mean, if you're scared, if it all seems like too daunting, if the machinery of it all seems too big and scary and overwhelming, it's great. You wake up in the morning and you do it anyway.
Yeah.
If it seems impossible, it's even better.
Yeah.
You do it anyway. And as you go, like I said, remember that amidst all that machinery, you're the one who's going to make the picture. It's just you and the thing that sparked you to make the film. You and the spark. In the end, they're one and the same. You guard that because it's precious. Now it's time to get to work.
Mwah. Just absolutely beautiful. Beautiful. I mean, he's talking about films there, but you could apply that to anything. You could apply that to this. What I'm doing, what we're doing, what Ben Soto and Justin Soto are doing, other creators out there, indie creators out there, very daunting. Pursuing something that you believe that needs to be told, right? Stories that you feel you want to share with people, strangers, people who don't know you, who may not even like what you put out there. But like you said, the spark, it's you and the spark. And that's I think that's what's missing with the younger generation. They don't have that spark. They want to just live stream. They want to live stream and become famous. But it's like, what are you providing to society, to the culture? What are you adding to the culture? At least with I Show Speed, and if you guys don't know who I Show Speed is, he's a very famous live streamer. That's all he does is live stream. But at least with I Show Stream, he sometimes gives back. He goes and he buys like computers for like the poor. He like overpays, people who do things, right? Like, I saw a video yesterday, actually, just last night, of him. I forgot what country he was in visiting, and it was like a street artist, right? Just a street artist, who's just there. Oh yeah, I'll draw you. It takes me about 20 minutes, and he paid him $500 for it. Even though he didn't create anything, he's at least giving someone money to give him something that's precious to him, and I think that's what's lacking in the young generation who crapped on not just the Odyssey, but any movie that comes out, right? It happened to Superman. It happened to every Zack Snyder movie. It happens to every movie that comes out. They always crap on it, but they don't understand what Martin Scorsese just said about you and the spark. I'm doing this because, yeah, there's a spark in me that wants to tell stories, just like the rest of you guys who are watching this and may watch the replay after this. And that's, I think that's the reason why I was so upset with the hate, because it was like, dude, this guy, Christopher Nolan, like he had the spark. He wanted to tell the story of the Odyssey in his way, and he did it. He made it. And all those other people who hate on it will never do anything like that. You know, there maybe some will, but I mean, it's tough making the movie, right? It's tough telling the story because it's hard to take rejection. It's hard for people to tell you, yeah, it sucked. I didn't like it. That's tough, right? I mean, I think we can all agree here. You know, when you put your heart and soul into something, or you put your hard work into it, and then some random person reads it and says, this isn't good. That can hurt, you know? But it depends, right? It depends what kind of things you do. And Justin says, yes, just me, my pencil, and a lot of Rockstar energy drinks. Absolutely. Oli! What's up, Oli? Long time no see, homeboy. ¿Qué onda? Oli says, reminds me of that hate Krager is getting for his Resident Evil movie. I'm hyped for the movie, actually. There you go. See, so you understand too, Oli. You know, you I know you love Resident Evil. And so, yeah, it's one of those things where it's everyone has a chance to interpret what they think is going to be good. And sometimes, like I said, it connects or it doesn't connect. But Scorsese's video is right on the money. And I think that, again, the reason why I'm here is because I have the spark. The reason why Ben, Justin, and everyone else who wants to make comic books or movies or whatever, they also have the spark. It's just a matter of getting it done, right? But it's, like you said, it's daunting. It's daunting to get, something done. Like this was daunting. You know, making this was daunting because I had to pay out, had to pay the artist, had to make sure that the story was solid. And now it's a matter of, will people like it? You know, and that's the hard part about it, is that will people like it? And sorry. I'm going to share my screen now, because now that we talked about that, now I want to share with you guys. Let me see here. Let me just minimize this. I want to talk about A Lucid Comic Shop that is now live. So as of now, A Lucid Comic Shop is up and running, and Asset 13 is currently on pre-order. And so I know last week I was hoping that last week it would be the big, announcement and the reveal that I have an online shop, but of course there's things that happen, like I ran out of time to get this store up and running. But now it's up and running, it's ready to go. Stories that take you to the edge. During my hiatus, I was thinking really hard about what is a Lucid Comic. What is it that I want to say with a Lucid Comic? And as I started thinking about that, and it got me thinking about, like, well, yeah, what is a Lucid Comic? What is it that I want to do with this? What do I want to be, superheroes? Do I want to be this? Do I want to be that? And I realized, no, it's got to be, I want it to be edgy. I want it to be a little bit dangerous. Because I think that's what we're missing nowadays in comics, is that there's not many writers or creators who want to be a little dangerous when telling their stories. And that's what I want. That's what I want to accomplish. That's my goal for a Lucid Comic, is to tell stories that are a little dangerous, that get people a little bit uncomfortable when they read the stories. Because those are the stories that I loved growing up as an adult. So from my childhood up until maybe 19 years old, yeah, superhero comics for sure, all the way. And to this very day, I still buy and pick up a few superhero comics because I still love it. I mean, come on, the kid in me won't let it go. The kid in me still has to pick up Batman, still has to pick up Superman from time to time. I just can't let it go. It really is a part of my life at this point. However, saying that, when I read V for Vendetta and I saw how dangerous that story was, I was immediately hooked. And again, this goes back to my Substack with the series Tales from the Ghetto. I saw nothing but danger growing up, right? Like I mentioned, drive-by shootings, gang fights, just unable to walk the neighborhood in certain parts of the time or certain parts of the neighborhood during certain times. Danger, constant danger, growing up in the ghetto. And so that's how I want to, those are the kind of stories I want to tell, which is why I decided to start off with Acid 13 as the pre-order. And again, it's currently available and the books will start going out by the end of May. So May 25th is when I start to ship out the books. And no crowdfunding, no waiting 45 days, 60 days, or a year to get your books. You'll get them right away. It's literally a few weeks away. And the book is done. So one shot. It's the story is 48 pages, but the book is 67 pages. No, 68 pages, excuse me. 68 pages because of the 14-page preview that's attached to this version of Acid 13, which is the preview for Samuel Zion. Post the link on your X and I'll share it in the chat. I can't find it. It's in my tree link on X, Ben. I realized that X doesn't really let you, X's algorithm is so damn tricky that if you share links like in the thread or in your X in your post, it for whatever stupid reason it doesn't push it. So I just now that's why I don't know if you've been noticing, that's why I've been saying link in the bio, because I don't want to deal with that anymore. I just want to just say link in the bio, so that way you can just click on my profile. My tree link is right there, and it's all there. My Substack is there. My Global Comics page is there. My online shop is there. Everything is there, including my other social media platforms. So if you want, just go to my tree link, copy and paste it. I appreciate you, bro. I really do. I appreciate that. And going back to the online shop. So Acid 13 was the first story I really wanted to share, like to kind of set the mood of like telling dangerous stories, I guess the best way to say it. And after that, it's going to be a few upcoming releases. And the next one will be Samuel Zion PI. Samuel Zion is a story that it's a story that I've been wanting to tell for a while. It's real quick. It's about a man by the name of Samuel Zion who is cursed with immortality. He cannot die. Now, of course, most of us would be like, wow, immortality, but we were just talking about Blade Runner, right? That's great, but in his case, it's not great because he cannot die until he has to pay a debt that's owed. And I'm not gonna give away too much because I want you guys to read it. But it's a story about a tragic figure who, on the surface, should be grateful and happy that he's immortal and can never die. But at this point in the story starts off where he's already at his wit's end. He wants to die. He wants to leave this planet. He doesn't want to be alive anymore. So now he's finally decided to pay back his debt, so that way he could just die. So, but what happens is when he pursues to pay this debt, which is collecting the evil entities he released thousands of years ago, they have this machine that they built to protect themselves from Samuel Zion. And the whole story is just him trying to find ways to capture these evil entities. And I have something cooking up real good for you guys with this one. I'm really happy with this one. I channeled a lot of Doctor Strange, but mainly Steve Ditko, Doctor Strange. And of course, there's a little flavor of a Hellblazer there, but he's not cynical in the way John Constantine is. He's cynical in the way that he just wants to, almost like an employee who just is showing up and going to work, and that's it. That's because there's nowhere else he's going to go. He's stuck at this job. This is essentially how I approached this character, an employee who's stuck at a dead end job and he can't go anywhere else. And that's his attitude in the whole book. Anti-hero for sure. And this is the most fun I ever had writing a comic book story. I'm really proud of this one. And don't get me wrong, I'm proud of all my works, but this one's the one where I had the most fun writing it and developing it. And I have something in store for you guys that's going to be fantastic. And so I want to share with you guys. Let me see if I could. I want to share with you guys a few page preview here. Let me just yeah, bear with me, guys. Here we go. So the art is drawn by Greg Warrenchak. He's also the artist for Acid 13. And I had so much fun working with Greg in Acid 13 that when we got to the end of finishing last Thanksgiving, I was like, I can't let this guy go. I gotta keep working with this guy, because he and I worked really well together, and it was an easy fit. And again, like Scorsese mentioned, that spark. We just connected like Lego pieces. And so I offered him, hey, do you want? I got the story. I think you'd be a good fit on, for it. Are you interested? And I pitched him the idea, and he was like, yeah, dude, let's go for this. This is cool. This is right up my alley. And so here's a few page. I'm gonna go a few pages here, so you guys can check it out. And it's gonna be in black and white. And that's another thing I'm gonna do going forward is just offer black and white books. I'm not gonna color my books, with the exception of Reset Protocol and Ghetto Dragons, since I already colored those books. I probably am going to release those books in color, since, like I said, they're done. I don't need to worry about adding any colors. I'm currently reformatting all those books, so that way I can get them ready for print on demand and also for pre-orders as well, and make it streamlined so that people can recognize the A Lucid Comic moniker in the name, and the brand name. But yeah, black and white going forward for any new project, and this one's no different. And yeah, this is the first. This is going to be book 0. Notice I didn't say issue. It's going to be books. Another thing that I thought about deeply during my hiatus was the idea of how to present my indie comics to new readers, young readers who are hungry for new stuff, new material. And when I finally created my TikTok account and I started exploring that space as to who, what kind of readers were there, because X has their own set of readers, Instagram has their own set, and so on and so forth. So I was checking out the landscape on TikTok, and to my surprise, it was a bunch of young readers. Like, I'm talking 20-something-year-old readers who are buying comic books regularly. And so it was a breath of fresh air to see. And based on what I've seen, they still collect floppies, but they're more manga readers because of the fact of how accessible they are. If they get into they find out about a manga, they go to book 1 and they start from there. But when they discover a character like a Batman, do they start in issue 1 of Batman from the 1930s? I don't think so. And I don't think they're going to read those books either, because those books are dated. They don't really hold up as much unless you're a hardcore comic book fan like myself and the rest of the people who are on the show, or who join me on the show. It's not viable. So I kind of married the two. I was like, well, I don't want to do manga because I'm not Japanese, I'm American, and I love American comics. So what if I just take the idea of like a black and white comic book, like manga does for the most part, and just tell these close-ended stories. So even though I end this with a little cliffhanger, it's still a complete story. There is no leaving you hanging in the middle, none of that. It's a complete story, a beginning, in the middle, and an end. And at the end, it's closed enough where okay, cool. But if nothing comes of it, at least I told the story. But it's open enough where I can continue the story if need be, if people really connect with this story. But yeah, here's a few pages to show you guys, and I really love Greg's work here. He really brought the kind of flavor I was looking for when I was thinking of this story. Stark black and white, eerie and creepy, and just interesting to look at. And again, working with Greg has been great. I mean, he's the kind of artist that every indie writer and creator like myself should always try to find and work with as much as possible, because you bring out the best in each other. That's always the best thing to do when you do this kind of thing. Is you always want to find an artist that can really give you exactly what you're looking for. And I believe Greg delivers in spades. And I'm really excited to show this book off to you guys when it's ready. This is the next project I'll be releasing after Acid 13 goes to print on demand, because the idea is once the pre-order closes, that version of Acid 13 with the 14-page preview will go away. It won't be available anymore. It's going to revert back to that 48-page without the preview. And then I'm going to release Samuel Zeon, and I have some cool stuff for you guys with that one. That one I think you guys are going to really dig when I announce the release date and open up the pre-order and get you guys to hopefully back that one and help me make it into a success. And so yeah, I had a lot of fun writing this one. It's right. It has elements of everything that I love about American comic books. It has the supernatural element. It has the edginess to it. And it has the American style that I love, the sequential style that Greg beautifully captures in these pages. And so I hope you guys, upon seeing these pages, will agree. Maybe not. Again, art's subjective, right? You may look at these pages and be like, nah, not for me. It's not something that I would like. But it's for me, it fits. It's a perfect fit of the story that I wrote here. And I hope you guys will agree and you guys will check it out when I'm ready to release this. I'm hoping by June, late June or early July is when I'm going to release this. And like I said, I have something cool in store for you. And when I announce it, I'll announce it here. I'll show it off here. But I think you guys will be pleased with what I'm have to offer. And it's the first 13 pages is nothing but action. It's action packed. I introduced the character, and here's the money shot here. I love this splash page. I love how this page came out. It's and this, I'm not going to give away too much. Obviously, I don't want to give away too much because I want you guys to read it. But this plays a factor in the story. All these souls that are poured out are forced out of this entity's body that he's eaten over the years he's been out of its captivity. And of course, I will elaborate on that in the same issue. And the next page is my favorite. I'll show it to you guys here. Look at this page. I love how this page came out. It channels a lot of the older 80s, 70s, 80s. And again, this is Greg. Greg did a great job with this page. And yeah, there's a flavor to it that I'm really proud of. So yeah, I just want to show you guys that. That's going to be the next thing that I will release when I'm ready to release it. And yeah, Samuel Zeon, PI. It's not your everyday paranormal, investigator. It's a different take on the genre. Again, it's very edgy. It's not for kids. It's for, I would say, young adult and up. So 16 and up is pretty much the demographic this book will target. And yeah, I think that's it, guys. That's the show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for those who came to the show and hung out with me and to hear me rant about Christopher Nolan, the hate that he unjustly got. But I'm hoping that it's worthwhile. I'm hoping the movie does kill it in the box office because, I mean, when you want to talk about epic, it doesn't get as epic as the Odyssey. So I'm hoping that would be something for you guys to enjoy when it comes out. And I hope you guys come back and continue on supporting the Lucid Comic and helping me grow into a mighty oak tree in the indie landscape, because that's the goal. The end goal is to grow. Of course, I'd be dumb just to tell you that I don't want to grow up. I want to grow. I want to grow to a size where I have people working with me. I could produce more stories for you guys. There's a lot of artists that I would love to work with. Not big artists, but I see the up and coming artists who are good, but they're not getting work. They're not getting the recognition because the page rates are high and but there's a budget involved, and so me personally, I can't speak for anyone else, but me personally, I have to watch out with my budget. My budget is very tight, very small, and so I'm hoping that with your support, the budget can get bigger and bigger, and I'm able to tell a lot more stories at a faster rate and get them out to you guys at a faster rate. Not monthly. There's no way I can compete with the monthly releases. But if I can do a quarterly release, excuse me, loud car. If I can get to a point where I could do quarterly releases, like a release every 4 months of a book that's with a price point that's accessible to most people, then we'd be in good shape. And again, black and white, that's the name of the game. Black and white comics because of price point. The reason why I'm doing black and white comics isn't a creative choice. It's strictly budget. And if I'm being real, it's just strictly budget. That's the only reason why I'm doing black and white, because it's cheaper for me to get it printed and it's cheaper for me to get it made. So until I get to a point where the revenue's coming in and the budget grows, then I'll be able to, get the books colored and produce printed books and get them out to you guys. And so that's the hope. So if you guys are new to the channel, please hit the like, subscribe, come back next Friday. Hopefully my AI co-host will come back and we can have an actual discussion. Bring back, let's talk about it. And Bring Back is worth the pickup, because there's a lot of books that we have read in the hiatus that we want to talk to you guys about and share with you guys with. So I'm hoping you guys will stick around with that. If you want to follow me on any other socials, the QR code that's in the corner up there, scan it and follow me on all the social medias and subscribe to my Substack. If you subscribe to my Substack from now until June 9th, you will receive a complimentary PDF version of Acid 13 without the preview of Samuel Zion. And you'll also receive a 15% discount code for the pre-order. So I recommend you guys check out my Substack. It's free to join. You could unsubscribe anytime. There is no contract. There is no, you have to be part of the Substack for X amount of time. No. It's, if you want to just subscribe, use the 15% and then bounce. Hey, I'm cool with that. It's all good, man. Like, I hope you stick around, because Tales from the Ghetto, I've just finished working on the 4th installment of it, because I'm trying to get ahead of it for the releases. And it's crazy, guys. I'm the next installment that's gonna come out next week. it's pretty wild, man. It really is. And I hope you guys stick around and read that, because I'm thinking about it now and it's wild. But so yeah, check me out there, QR code, and support indie comics, read comics, educate the young people on how to consume media properly, so that way they could at least enjoy things. That's the sad part about this hate, is that what happened to just enjoying things, or trying to enjoy things anyway? Try enjoying it, and then if you realize, it's not for me, then you can move on, and that's fair, because you at least gave it a shot. So with that said, guys, thank you, Ben. Thank you, Oli, for coming, and Justin and Crenshaw and everyone else who came on by and hung out with me. Thank you again for your support, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
On November 27, 1997, citizens from a small Midwestern town called Carpenter's Bay were shocked to discover that one of their own brutally massacred his family, as well as ending his own life on Thanksgiving Day. Dubbed the Thanksgiving Day Massacre, this horrendous crime would forever tarnish the good name of this peaceful town. However, underneath this story lies a dark secret. A secret involving a government cover-up to hide the real story of what happened that fateful day. As the old saying goes, truth is stranger than fiction. Asset 13, The Last Thanksgiving, written by Julius Freeman, art by Greg Warrenchak, available on Global Comics. Evil has a new holiday.